Welcome back to the graveyard, everybody. My name is Mads, and today, after what I think at least a year now, I'm actually going back into a brand deep dive video. I am sorry it's taken me so long to do one of these. I know that this is the style of video that does the best on my channel. They're just very, very labor-intensive videos. I don't want to get my information incorrect. I don't want to accidentally slander a brand, especially a smaller brand. So I prefer to upload infrequently, but get everything correct than I would to constantly punch out video after video and potentially rush through the information. So today's topic is Black Craft Cult, a relatively well-known alternative brand. I will be referring to them as BCC or Black Craft because if you haven't tried, it's impossible to say Black Craft Cult multiple times in a single sentence. So I'm just trying to preserve my sanity, okay? Hopefully you can understand that. So first off, let's talk about the brand's history. The brand was founded in 2012. The owners are Jim Summers and Bobby Shabensky. They were founded in Anaheim, and I can't imagine how difficult that must be for a startup brand because Anaheim is notoriously expensive to live in and notoriously difficult to create a brand at all in because basically everyone in the city is your direct competition, and people want to see you fail so that their brand can stand out as the top one. So I commend them already for even attempting something there. The two only had $100 to invest in their company at the time, which again is something that a lot of us online can truly relate to. I mean, anybody that does stuff like work at Comic-Cons or has their little merch shop when they have a teeny tiny subscriber base on YouTube and stuff, anything like that, it's hard and you do not have a lot of money. If it's something even vaguely artistic, which I'd say fashion is, it's going to be very difficult to get a loan because, again, it's very dog eat dog and it's not something that's needed. It's a luxury item. Yeah, you need clothing. You don't need BCC clothing. So trying to convince anyone to give you a business loan to start something like that is going to be incredibly difficult. And again, in Anaheim, even worse. So only $100, and they started the business in their attic. From what I've been able to find online, they essentially would draw up the designs themselves and then screen print them, in as big a batches as they were feasibly able to do, and then they would send them out to people, which is awesome. Again, that's how a lot of us who are on the artsy side begin our businesses, and there's absolutely no shame in it. In fact, I think it's absolutely amazing and inspiring, and hopefully it's inspired other people who have a similar idea to do the same thing. As the brand grew in popularity online, there was a company called Global who wanted to become a part of it. According to Licensing International, Bobby Shabensky, co-founder of Blackcraft, stated, "Global has no better infrastructure on the planet, no better creative, and I am stoked to be working with industry specialists that equal my passion. Global are right in the thick of it working with me, while letting me lead at the same time. Having Global's team supporting my vision and playing to my strengths while also taking care of my blind spots is exciting. Global is a well-oiled machine that any clothing brand dreams of having." Now, I'll openly admit, I know absolutely nothing about the fashion industry. I see cool thing, I get cool thing, I wear cool thing. That's the extent of my knowledge. So I don't know what makes Global so special and so amazing for a fashion brand, but it seems like Bobby thought it was the coolest thing that could have possibly happened to them, so I believe him. So all of that is absolutely amazing, especially for a brand that's still kind of growing into something that could be spectacular for the alternative community. Now, there's something that needs to be filled in that I didn't see mentioned right away in that article. And it's the fact that in 2022, Blackcraft Cult was doing well enough that they opened a brick and mortar location in Salem, which is so cool. What a smart investment idea, because people are going to go to Salem looking for stuff like this. They want alternative stuff. They want witchy shit. They want spooky shit. So they opened that location, and not only is it awesome to look at, not only does it have amazing and cool clothing for people right there in a tourist destination, they also opened a coffee shop. So smart. And while we're on the topic of the brick and mortar that they have in Salem, there's something I want to mention. You know how I said that accessibility really matters to me because a lot of brands tend to forget about it? I reached out to the Salem location. I wanted to know if someone in a wheelchair, like myself, were to visit the Salem BCC, would I be able to comfortably exist there? I wanted to know because every time I try to go to a place like Hot Topic, it's a mess. I can't fit in the store because they have so much packed into a tiny space. They physically have to move things around. And while I appreciate the fact that they acknowledge I'm there and they do try to move all their stuff, I feel one, terrible that they have other things to be doing and they have to rearrange the whole store just so I can fit there. And two, it makes me feel self-conscious because as soon as everyone is acknowledging your presence and rearranging a store, all eyes are suddenly on you in a way that you don't want to be perceived in. They're all looking at you like, why is this person making them rearrange the store? Why is this person, causing this whole hubbub here and stuff? And it's like, I'm not. They're just offering it. Please don't assume I forced them to do this. It's just uncomfortable. And it's upsetting. And you get hooked to stuff. And you knock things down. And it's not a good time. Well, BCC in Salem actually emailed me back, and this is what the email said. Hello, we would absolutely love it for you to visit us here in Salem. We have an accessible entrance to our store through our employee parking lot. Our store is all on one level, as well as our coffee shop and our haunted house as well. If you have any other questions, we'd love to answer them, and we look forward to hearing or seeing you soon. So it was really cool to actually have someone from that location reach out and answer that question. It took them a little bit, but that's totally understandable. The fact that they even are attempting to make it a comfortable experience for me already makes me very happy. Now, what they said does not automatically mean it is an accessible location, which I know if you're not in a wheelchair, you may not understand. Being all on one level and having an entrance that can fit wheelchair does not make you accessible. One, we need to talk about overall comfort. I would have to go through the employee parking lot in order to get in, which is, again, one of those things that can make you feel a little self-conscious. You don't get to go through the same entrance as everybody else. People are going to be staring and wondering why you're going through a different door. Sometimes when you finally fit into a place, people applaud it. I know they mean well. It's weird and it's uncomfortable. I'm literally going through a door. That's not an applause-worthy feat. And if you're applauding because you're like, oh, yay, you were actually able to get in, hooray for the brand, that should be standard. So I'd have to actually visit the location to see whether or not I actually fit. And I do plan on going one day. I want to go to Salem. When that day comes, I will be vlogging it so that you can see how accessible Salem as a whole is and this location. The other thing is, once I'm inside the store, yeah, it's all on one level, but can I comfortably get around? Is it going to be really tight? Can I easily get hooked on stuff? Is it going to be so overcrowded for how small space it is that I'm crashing into people? This is all stuff that has to be taken into consideration. However, the fact that they even responded to me at all and they are actually taking steps to try to ensure that I could comfortably exist there does give them some brownie points through me. It really does. I know it sounds like I'm ripping their response apart. I promise I'm not. I just have to think about this in a way people who are not in wheelchairs don't have to think about it. So now that we have the brand history out of the way and we've talked a little bit about the storefront that they built, we're going to change location a little bit because I'm going to be going to their website to look at their About page next. All right, so here we are on the brand's official website. We're going to go ahead, like I said, and take a peek at the About page because we've seen from other people's knowledge what the history of the brand is and what they're all about. Let's see what the owners believe, their whole mission statement and all that jazz is. So first things first, up on the menu bar, I don't initially see an About page. That's normally where you would see it, up here someplace, and I don't see that. So let's come down. You have to go all the way to the footer of the website to find the About section. Just so you know, it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. I just want to make sure people are aware of it. So we have some cool pictures here. About Black Craft Cult. BCC are firm believers that you don't need God or any organized belief system in order to be a good person. To be kind to all man and animal kind and do positive things for others. Spawned out of a Southern California attic in the summer of 2012, Blackcraft's inception was a collaborative brainchild of Jim Summers and Bobby Shabensky. The duo began with a sparse $100 investment in their pockets and a singular idea to motivate people in a positive light outside of the realms of organized religion. An idea that has manifested and grown, reaching people of all walks of life across the globe. So already, that's a pretty cool mission statement, in my opinion. I know some people might look at it and be like, oh, that's so cringy or something. I don't think it is, simply because they're very upfront about their mission statement. They're like, we don't like organized religion. They didn't set out necessarily to become an alternative fashion company. They didn't necessarily want to like latch on to just goths or metalheads or something. It was more built on trying to help people understand that if they were kind of anti-religion, they had a place to find some cool shit. Because I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but there's actually quite a few like metal and alternative Christian fashion websites. And you don't always want to give your money to that, unfortunately. Sometimes those people are not as loving as they think they are. Our values. At Blackcraft, we live by the ethos of kindness, gratitude, and positivity. We celebrate self-empowerment, self-expression, and all aspects of life that encourage personal freedom. For those of you who have embraced us from the beginning, thank you for the continued support. For those of you who are discovering us, welcome. We hope that our products will encourage you to believe in yourself and create your own future. So all of that, to me, sounds like the tenets of the Satanic Temple. If you are not aware of what that is, I don't want you to instantly panic when you hear the word satanic. People who practice Satanism actually don't believe in the devil. I know that sounds like a weird oxymoron or something, but they don't. They don't believe in Christianity. They don't believe in like God and the devil. It's kind of an ironic thing. Just the whole kindness, gratitude, just being yourself, being happy with who you are, all of that, and just like harming as few people and animals in the process as possible is what's making me think of the satanic tenets. So I'm going to show you what those are actually, so you'll know what I'm talking about. So this is straight from the satanictemple.com. There are 7 fundamental tenets. 1, one should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. 2, the struggle for justice is an ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions. 3, one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. 4, the freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of others is to forego one's own. 5, beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs. 6, people are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused. And 7, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word. See what I mean by like BCC's own brand initiative sounds a lot like those tenets. And when you actually read it that way, it's not a bad or scary thing at all. It's actually very positive and meant to basically help people truly be their best selves, not because they're expecting to get something in the afterlife, not because they want to score points with someone above them. It's being good for the sake of being good and nothing else. So now we know what they say that they strive towards. The ones I really want to put special emphasis on are the fact that they want to be positive, they want to encourage self-expression and self-empowerment and personal freedom, and that they want to be kind to people and animals. So that tells me they probably should be vegan, and they probably should be donating to charities and stuff. So in an effort to find out whether or not the brand had actually donated any money to charity in the past, I decided to take a little gander on Google. One of the things that I found is this: Blackcraft Cult is happy to announce its Music Relief Fund. We are raising money to go to some of your favorite live music venues to help keep live music going. 100% of the proceeds of these 2 items are going into our fund to allocate to these venues. We understand that the times are tough and we want to help. And these were the items in question: a hoodie and a t-shirt. And this was in 2021. So this was set up during the height of quarantine and a pandemic where a lot of live venues were really, really struggling and really going through it because we weren't allowed to go to concerts. We weren't allowed to congregate in large numbers or anything. So a lot of these venues were really struggling. So it's really cool that they set up a charity like that. And it's the type of charity a lot of people forgot. People were not thinking of the arts. Most arts-based businesses were not eligible for PPP loans, so a lot of them just closed down. Most people couldn't afford to keep on donating money to anything artistic because they were like, well, I'm not getting anything out of it, so why should I? So a lot of them got left at the wayside. So I love the fact that they actually tried to come up with a tangible way to help some of these venues so they wouldn't have to close down the way that others did. From what I can see on both their own website and on Google, this is the only charity that BCC currently has or has had in the past. I think it's still noble and it's still wonderful, but there are no animal-based charities, which is interesting. So knowing that, I'd like to know if they are either a vegan company or if they are a company that is very conscious about their carbon footprint. So it was oddly difficult to find any information on whether or not the brand itself considers itself to be vegan. There were only 2 websites that mentioned anything about it, and one of them was so old that I got a 404 error, but I'm on berserk.com right now, which is an Australian website, and it's showing a handbag that they sold. This Charlotte quilt handbag from Blackcraft will capture your gothic heart, featuring incredible embossed detailing, gunmetal hardware, and an adjustable strap. This matte black bag is a must-have. Vegan leather. It's cool that it's vegan leather. Also, I want to mention something really quick when it comes to alternative fashion and the use of vegan leather. It's okay if you don't want to use animal products. It's completely acceptable if you're like, I'm not comfortable with it. I just can't use real leather. It's too sad for me. I understand that. And unfortunately, like, cattle farms and stuff for that kind of production really destroy the environment. It's not only hurting the animals, it's hurting the earth itself. But pleather is no better, guys. Unfortunately, a lot of alternative people who don't want to hurt animals or want to be vegan go and get stuff that is vegan leather, and that is incredibly detrimental to the environment. So I've kind of switched trajectories and gone to earth.org, which I believe I've been on my channel before. The pros and cons of vegan leather. Vegan leather's exploitation of plant matter is more advantageous than one thinks. After picking out fresh pineapples and cactuses, their leaves are often left unbothered. Vegan leather, however, makes full commercial use of agricultural byproducts that would otherwise go discarded. This generates another stream of eco-friendly income for both farmers and fashion companies. Vegan leather's greatest disadvantage is indeed its occasional use of plastics, which are completely non-biodegradable and would linger for eternity. Some would even consider the aftermath of faux leather to be far worse than that of real leather. So, knowing that, it's up to each individual how they feel about vegan leather. The thing is, yeah, it looks cool, but you can have a full alternative closet that has absolutely no leather or vegan leather in it whatsoever. You don't have to have leather or faux leather products to have a cool alternative closet. You can use something else. There is a lot more research you can do about the microplastics and forever stuff that is linked to vegan leather. I'm not trying to tell you, oh, don't buy the handbags at BCC because it has it. I just know that for some people, this is a big deal, and I want you to be aware of it. So if this is the kind of thing that is going to make or break you buying an item, you are educated. Okay, so after that little tangent, let's go back to the actual website itself. The next thing I want to take a look at is the price point of the items, because for a lot of people, it's difficult right now to build a whole new wardrobe. Even if they desperately need it, it's difficult to say, I want to spend $50 on a singular item. You'd rather have like $100 to spend on an entire head-to-toe new look. So let's take a look at what their price point looks like. We'll look at new arrivals really fast. So we have a $35 tank top, a $35 halter top, $35 t-shirt, crop tops, $30 hats, shorts are $55. I can't tell if those are embroidered or screen printed. Let me see. I think it's just screen printed because it's not saying anything in particular. So $55 for a pair of shorts is pretty pricey. $35 for t-shirts and tank tops, though, are pretty standard these days. I mean, it's not something everyone can afford, but generally speaking, most people can spend $35 on a t-shirt if they really need a new one. They're kind of prepared for that price. And $30 for hats, also pretty standard these days. Like I said, the shorts are kind of up there. I'm not really sure why they cost that much. I would not personally pay $55 for shorts, but to each their own. Let's look at the long sleeve price. $45 and $50. Honestly, for a long sleeve shirt that has that much detail on it, especially the goat one, that is honestly not bad. Again, not everyone can afford it, but for what it is, most brands would be selling this guy for between $65 and $70. So that's not terrible for what the item itself is. Let's look at joggers. Joggers are another item that tends to be like $65. 45, 60, 80. It looks like the $80 one is because it is a brand collaboration. So you kind of expect that kind of stuff to cost more than the average piece. Let's see what the $45 one looks like. Looks pretty comfy. Looks very loose. Relaxed fit lounge pants. Jersey material. Cool. Yeah, that is honestly not terrible for joggers at all. $45. $60. What's the difference between that and the other one? Cotton and polyester. So the only difference between the $45 ones and the ones that are $60 is the materials that are used to make the joggers. The jersey obviously is more lightweight. It's a cheaper material to make stuff out of, so it's going to cost less. So it looks like pretty much all of them are just between $45 and $60, which again, like, yeah, $65 for one pair of joggers, in my opinion, is pretty pricey. It's not something the average person can do right now, but there is a ton of detail. I mean, this pair right here is absolutely chock full of design details and stuff. It's not like they just put their name on it and that was it. So to each their own, if you think it's worth that or not. I'd say I'm kind of split. There's a part of me that's like the ones that are really hyper detailed might be worth $65, but the ones that just say Black Craft Cult on the side should have been $45. There's no reason for something that simple to cost that much. Hoodies. Let's look at the hoodies. $85. Honestly, I don't really understand it. $65. It has some art on the chest, it has art on the sleeves. That's pretty standard for a hoodie with that much detail. Same with the cropped one. $75 because it has an entire back piece on it. These are, again, I'd say this is middle of the road pricing. This is not what I would call affordable clothing, but it's also not like luxury expensive clothing that's completely unattainable for anybody right now. It's in the middle. It's moderate pricing. So now I want to look at the menswear section because a common problem when it comes to alternative fashion is the fact that women have this beautiful, vast variety of amazing, stylish pieces, a variety of different types of alternative under their category. But then you get to the men and it's like you either are going to be dressed as Zach Bagans from Ghost Adventures or you get like a couple t-shirts and a couple jeans and that's it. And they just don't have as many cool options for men. This made my day. Not sure if you guys are clocking it with me or not right now, but the men's section is identical to the women's section with very, very few variations. There's a couple things that are only in the men's section, but most of this is in the women's section too, which means even though there's technically a men's section and a women's section on the website, BCC basically says, fuck your gender norms. Anyone can wear our shit. We don't care. If you're a dude and you want to wear a skirt, wear the skirt. If you're a lady and you want to wear a trucker hat, wear the trucker hat. That is fucking awesome. I love that. And I know some people will be like, well, if they're, gender inclusive, then why is there a women's section and a men's section? Sometimes brands just do that because if you are someone with like a really large bust, you need to go to the women's section because it's the only one that you can actually see will fit you effectively and comfortably. So that might be the only reason they do that. And some people are more comfortable that way, but this is a good way to show like, we don't care what gender you are. Everyone is welcome to wear whatever they want of our stuff. That is so fucking cool. Also, kudos to them for the fact that it means that men actually get fun fashion. Woo! So now that I'm very excited about that part of the brand, I am going to move on to Reddit. I know Reddit can be a cesspool, but I use them a lot in these brand deep dives because people are very opinionated on Reddit and they are very, very honest about how they feel about things. So what I like to look at on there is the average consumer's opinion on whether or not the brand's items are worth the price, if they hold up well in the washing machine, if they, are terrible cheap materials, if there's issues with sizing, anything like that. They'll tell you everything they feel about it. So this is from r/goth fashion from 5 months ago, so pretty recently. Opinions on Black Craft Cult. I'm a baby bat and I've seen a lot of Black Craft Cult on Instagram and whatnot. I wasn't sure on what subreddit to post this on, but I'm genuinely curious on what others think of the brand, especially those who aren't Satanists or follow a different belief. I don't consider myself anything and I'd rather follow my own beliefs, but I will admit I'm a bit afraid of satanic beliefs, but I will absolutely not judge. And I just want to know what others think about this brand. First off, it's kind of funny seeing somebody say something like that because, as I mentioned earlier in this video, satanic beliefs are not what a lot of people assume they are. It's not following Satan. It's not anything evil or scary. In fact, it's more welcoming than most belief systems. So let's take a look at how some people responded. They have a store near where I live. The whole satanic thing is just them being edgelords to have a laugh, make conservatives clutch their pearls, and sell merchandise. They do not belong to any form of religion, satanic or otherwise. Per their website, quote, Black Craft Cult are firm believers that you don't need God or organized belief system in order to be a good person, blah, blah, blah. At Black Craft, we live, blah, blah, blah. We already read that. Meh, they're an alt brand, one of many who plaster their name on everything they make. Not for me. Goths are not billboards. Now, this is something that I have seen as a criticism with BCC and Killstar, especially over any other brand. It's the fact that a lot of people don't like the fact that they slap Killstar and BCC on a lot of their items. BCC does it even more so than Killstar does. It's on literally every item. I don't think you can buy a single item from BCC that doesn't say Black Craft Cult somewhere on it. And it's not a good or bad thing. It's a matter of personal opinion. Art is subjective. Some people are going to love something. Some people are going to hate it. It's not for me. I want to enjoy the style. I want to enjoy the art that is on the piece. I don't want to be distracted by a giant brand name plastered across it. But some people love that. Look at Supreme. It's a white t-shirt with a red logo, but people pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for Supreme merch just because it says the name on it. Same with stuff like Gucci and stuff. Some people love having a brand name plastered on everything, and some people hate it and think it's, cringy or something. It's ultimately down to you. Full disclosure, I design and sell enamel pins, and one of them features a pentacle design. My store is nowhere near the level of a brand like BCC or Killstar, but I tend to design products that I want and that I assume my customers will want. Wearing satanic symbols is just a way of standing out and not conforming to societal standards. It's worn for the shock value, though results may vary depending on where in the world you wear it. If you don't want to wear the stuff, then don't. It's entirely your choice. Satanism, according to the Satanic Bible at least, is really just another form of atheism. The idea is to live your life and indulge now, not to abstain in the hopes that you will be rewarded in the afterlife. And I think that was a great way to respond to the fears that person had about the fact that they have like Baphomet and stuff. Baphomet is not evil. Baphomet's not scary. A dude from the Knights Templar found the first statue that is documented of Baphomet, and he just thought it was cool, and the other Templars were like, ooh, this thing's neat, let's play with it. Like, it was nothing evil. It was a bunch of dudes just hanging out with a cool statue they found. On top of that, these days with neo-paganism, Baphomet is just kind of the symbol of balance. and neutrality. It's not evil, it's not good, it's not male, it's not female. It encompasses essentially everything and nothing. I ordered swim trunks from them last year, and the overlocking was totally separate from the fabric in a pretty big section. Ooh, so see, this is the kind of thing I'd like to look at. And was this a one-off, or does this happen frequently? The quality of their clothes is extremely good. They have a store in Salem, Massachusetts, which carries way more things than the website. That's good to know too, because I was not aware of the fact that there's actually more in the storefront than there is online. Usually you hear the opposite. Now we're looking at r/goth. This is from 4 years ago, a little older. Has anyone bought anything from Blackcraft Cult? I'm new to buying things online from Facebook ads, so let me know. Are they shady and racist like Dolls Kill? Oh, God. They make some good stuff to my knowledge. I haven't heard anything shady or racist. Their faux, edgy, satanic shtick kind of ruins some of their pieces for me personally. Yeah, I'm looking at purse and a wallet, but the whole don't trust the living thing they have going is equal to the basic white girl ear, pray, love for me. I think they meant eat, pray, love. Again, that's fine if you think that, but the fact of the matter is this person just wanted to know if they've ever been caught in controversy, and so far the only thing even close to controversy I'm finding is people personally not liking how the stuff looks. Here we go. I don't know anything about shadiness or racism, but I have a lot of pieces from Blackcraft Cult. Good quality stuff, delivers quickly and reliably, never had any problems. Any specific things you would recommend? I mostly get tees with sick occult-esque designs. Most of the other stuff does not appeal to me whatsoever. Lemao. Some designs are downright ugly, not gonna lie. You just have to look out for any that appeal to your specific aesthetic sensibilities. And that I already think is really positive for the brand because it means that they have a variety of styles. They're not just sticking to one look. They're trying to appeal to multiple different forms of alternative consumer. On the whole, it seems like people think it's worth the money that they've spent on the brand because these items hold up really well. You're essentially going to have a piece for years and years and years. The only thing people are a little weirded out by is the fact that they do have a collaboration coming up with Hot Topic. They're not super keen on that because Hot Topic has been embroiled in a lot of controversy. They're going to be the next brand deep dive. But it's one of those things where to each their own. How much is that going to bother you? Do you think that finally having the opportunity to have their brand become part of a mainstream place like Hot Topic and actually finally grow to the extent that they've desperately wanted it to grow is bad because you don't like the brand attaching to it? Do you think that means they automatically believe in the ethics of Hot Topic? I don't know. Everyone seems to have a different opinion on that online. So you're going to have to just do your own soul searching on if that's going to bother you enough or not. I see it as, even though they're well known in the alternative communities online, they mostly do just exist online unless you're near Salem and you happen to be near the storefront. This might be their best way to become more mainstream the way that Killstar did, which will help their brand not be as tiny. They'll be able to do more charity work. They'll be able to appeal to more kinds of alternative people. This could be a net positive for their brand. But again, to each their own. If you're like, yeah, but I just can't support anyone who supports Hot Topic, that's fine. Just don't attack someone who does like the brand still. So, I was trying to find out if there have ever been any specific controversies around this brand or not. This is less than a month old, 25 days ago under r/goth fashion. And it appears they might be struggling from the same issues that we saw with Rogan Wolf. Blackcraft Cult using free PNGs and AI. I know many people have discussed here before how they are not a fan of Blackcraft Cult due to their tendency to plaster their clothes with the name of the brand, but this is a new low. It appears that they are using AI images of cats and flowers in one of their new collections. One of the 3 cat images they use, at least one, is the top result on a free PNG website. All of the images have that AI quality to them, and those PNG sites are full of AI-generated images. It's disappointing to see a small brand do this, as it should be clear to them the ethical concerns of AI art. Not to mention, it just looks awful. Makes me question if they are just ripping content for their other pieces as well. Like, there is the right amount of beans and stuff. There's no weird hairs coming out or anything. The eyes aren't all fucked. However, there is that weird, overly filtered, overly smooth look to it that you usually get with AI generated images. Also, just the fact that they would be using free PNGs at all. It's not necessarily unethical, but it's lazy. I mean, their whole brand is about the fact that it was just two guys in their attic creating their own designs and screen printing it from their own house. And that's part of why people love them so much. So cutting corners is going to be a bad look. I don't know, that just looks like a photo of a cat to me, but some of the flowers, this flower looks jank as fuck right now. So here's what this person found, that this is available on a free PNG website. It may be ignorance, not deliberately using AI. Because they didn't use an AI website, they didn't use a generator, they used a free PNG site to get the pictures of the kittens themselves. They may have also gotten the flower bunches there, thought, oh, this looks pretty, we'll put it behind the image of the kitten, and not realize the flowers were AI. You don't always know, if you don't have an eye for spotting AI, whether something is AI generated or not. So they could claim ignorance. I just realized that this kitten's feet are fucked. This is definitely AI generated, actually. The orange kitten is 100% AI generated. The more you look at it, the more you can see it. Do you think individually that they knew these were AI and they didn't give a fuck? Or do you think they made a stupid mistake? Up to you. But honestly, that was literally the only controversy I can find anywhere online for the brand, which compared to most of the brands I've covered so far is not bad at all, honestly. Like, if it turns out that they did know those designs were AI generated and they used them anyway, I will not personally be supporting the brand, because everyone by now knows how harmful AI is to the environment. It's destroying the earth, and how harmful it is to artists. There is a severe lack of consent when it comes to AI generated crap online. So hopefully it was ignorance and they can just be more careful next time and not do that. Editing Mads here. That's why I look like a complete potato. It's early in the morning when I'm sitting here doing this, but as I was going back through the footage, something really struck me about this whole AI debacle, whether it was deliberate or not. So in terms of overall quantity of controversies, Blackcraft Cult is far and above most of the other well-known alternative brands. Most of them have been embroiled in multiple controversies that were a lot more harmful to, like, human beings overall. I'm talking things like racism and stuff like that, and everything in the Dolls Kill video that I did a while back. But that doesn't mean that this controversy doesn't matter. And it's not very well known yet, apparently. I don't think most people who go to that website are looking for cat prints. So I don't even think they're necessarily looking at those designs. I think they're just scrolling by. And that's probably why this is kind of flying under the radar a little bit. But the thing is, it doesn't really matter, in my opinion, whether this was an accident or not. At the end of the day, they are the brand owners. It is their job to vet every design going on their shirt, whether they are the ones making it, whether they are using a free PNG website, or whether they have some employee in a back room making a design. It is their job to ensure that everything that is being produced and sold by BCC aligns with their ethics. And one of their big things they said is that they don't want to bring harm to humans or animals. I don't expect people to know what they don't know. So I'm not angry right now. I'm just legitimately trying to educate people. What you need to understand about why AI art is so terrible is it doesn't just come down to the fact that there's a severe lack of consent on behalf of the artists, because none of us knew years and years ago, decades ago, when we started posting our artwork online in order to network with other artists and brands and stuff, none of us knew it was going to get scraped for AI one day. We didn't consent to that. We didn't want that to happen. It's already sad enough that there's AI-generated art on BCC stuff when they are famous for being basically a couple of artist dudes screen printing out of their house. Because I'm sure they'd feel terrible if somebody just ripped off a BCC design, threw it into an AI generator, and said, this is mine now. Like, that would suck. It's not just about that, though. AI generated content is nuking the environment. You cannot claim to care about the earth, the environment, animals, the air we breathe, and use AI generators. You just can't. The machines that are used to power this shit are detrimental to the earth because so many people are now generating so much, and they have to search through millions upon billions of pieces of artwork to patchwork these monstrosities together. Let's switch up now and take a look at the size inclusivity. I want to specifically look in the women's section because of the fact that women's size inclusivity tends to be notoriously terrible. So we're going to look at t-shirts and we're going to look at the hoodies. So these are like the brand new stuff. That only goes to an XL. That's kind of terrible. What about this one? 5XL. So it looks like regular t-shirts go to 5XL, but if you're looking for the more like baby doll ones, it only goes to XL. The shorts go to a 2XL. But some shirts go to a 3XL. It's weird. So size inclusivity is meh. It's not as terrible as some brands that I've looked at for sure. But it's far from perfect. They still have some room to grow. It looks like if you are larger than an XL, you're just going to have to look at each individual piece and see whether or not that individual piece will fit you. I was trying really hard to wait on making this video until they released their swim line because I really wanted to see what their swim line's inclusivity was going to look like, because apart from Killstar, pretty much no well-known alternative brands do swimwear, and I was really excited, but it kept saying coming soon, coming soon, coming soon. So I reached out to the brand and I was like, hey, when's this launching? And no one could give me a date. They just said they didn't know. So unfortunately, we can't look at the swimwear. Now, I was going to move on to inclusivity as a whole on the website when it comes to their models and stuff, but they actually don't have a lot of models. They kind of just showcase the product itself instead, which is not a bad thing at all. I mean, it's not terrible, but it is nice to be able to see how it will fit on somebody. So like here is a guy that is incredibly tattooed. He's got like facial tattoos and stuff, which a lot of brands don't tend to use because they're worried about turning people off. Cool to see that. Heavily tattooed people are valid. Run-of-the-mill, very conventionally attractive lady here, but she doesn't look super alternative, which is kind of cool. She's just, someone you would just find anywhere. Another one, very typical, generally attractive person. It's hard to say anything for the inclusivity of the models because there just aren't that many. It looks like it is mostly conventionally attractive white women, but there are some like heavily tattooed guys and this black dude here, but I can't say that they're doing a terrible job just because they mostly want to feature the products themselves and not people. So there's just not a lot of models in general. So now that we've gotten through all that, I want to give my final thoughts on the brand as a whole and give it its rating. So overall thoughts on BCC as a brand. In terms of their ethics and what they claim to stand for, they do a relatively good job actually standing for those things. They've been in probably the least amount of controversy that I've seen so far on this channel when doing alternative brand deep dives, which is awesome. And in terms of the very recent controversy about the potentially AI-generated PNG designs, I am waiting to give my full opinion that until hopefully the brand speaks up about it and acknowledges whether that was an innocent mistake or not. And like I said, it's tough in terms of the using free PNGs rather than making their own designs. It really is up to each individual if that bothers you or not. If you think it's lazy and you hate it, just don't buy from them anymore. If it doesn't bother you and you understand that it's an up and coming brand in terms of getting into like big box stores and stuff, that's valid too. The size inclusivity is a little bit all over the place, but their customer service and their want to help people feel as comfortable in their brand as possible is commendable. I'd say overall, with the categories I tend to give brands on my channel, I would give them a 3.5 out of 5 ghosts. There's definitely a lot of room for improvement. There are some aspects of the brand that I would like to see them grow and change with over time. And I think based on my interactions with them, based on other people's interactions with them, there's a potential that they could do better with anything that's bothering people right now. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 ghosties. And as always, remember, I am not making these videos to try to turn you on to only using a certain brand or to tell you you're not allowed to use this brand. I hate them, therefore you have to hate them, or you're a terrible person. I only make these videos so that if you are looking for new alternative fashion and you have specific morals and ethics and you want the brands to align with those, you're educated. You know whether or not now BCC aligns with your personal morals. If they do, cool, support them. If they don't, leave them by the wayside. It's fine. I have no motivation in these videos other than keeping you as educated as I possibly can. Please don't think of these videos as me trying to cancel any brands or anything. I just think it's important if they do something good or bad for people to be aware of what they're doing. Because a lot of us don't have a lot of extra money these days. When we spend money on something, we don't want to regret it later. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Do something that makes you happy today, as long as you're harming no one else in the process, and I'll see all of you in the next one.